How do you know if a developer is shady or not?
See, first and foremost, I must say with the change in regulation in the sector, especially I think 2017, 2018, the RERA has been implemented. So RERA is called Real Estate Regulatory Act, right? So essentially that regulates the sector, right? One of the key proponents in that thing is you cannot do any advertisements of your product, which can be housing product or a commercial space or a land, without taking approval from the government. One very, very, because a shady builder, first of the thing he does is, without taking approval from the government, is going to sell you these assets. And let's say the government doesn't give approval for it, you have already given the money, you're in the soup.
That is the key factor.
One prime aspect. So you need to have a RERA number, RERA approval. Only invest in properties which have RERA approval. That's one point. So builders who are selling you without the RERA approval can be considered reasonable to significantly shady. It's all probability again, right?
This is a reality in 2024 also. There are many like that.
There are many like that, but quickly decreasing. Like for example, 5 years back, let's say they were out of 100, let's say 30 were like that, or maybe 40 were like that. Today, that number is coming down to 20 or 18. And I see by 2030, that number will come off to sub 5.
What happened to the 20 that left?
A good chunk of these people, what happened is their businesses went bankrupt, right? Because consumers have realized this and they have stopped investing with them. So the businesses have gone bankrupt or they ran away from the country, right? Anything can happen. You see a lot of, sometimes it happens that people run away from the country after doing your financial misdeeds. So they would have ran away from the country, or the business would have winded up, or maybe, some of them would have landed, a good chunk of them, even big developers have landed in the jail. Over the last 1-2 years, if you see a lot of news articles, especially from NCR, they've even landed in the jail. So yeah, government is, regulating it well and punishing those probably developers who really play around with somebody's financial security. So that's happening.
I know so many uncles in Bombay whose money is stuck in real estate. What does that phrase mean? Because it is related to the shady developer angle that we're speaking about.
Yes. So what stuck in real estate, they have purchased the property and the developer is unable to build it further and deliver it to them. So essentially your property is stuck in under construction phase. It could be because Bombay mein, I think the regulatory framework is a little more complicated. At various stages of the project, you have to go and take various approvals, which will even mean change in amount of square feet you can build. Like for example, I might start, this is pertaining mainly to Bombay and certain cities, not there in Hyderabad at all. In Bombay, what happens is, when I start the project, I go and take approval that I'm going to build 1,000 square feet of built up space on this land. After building a certain level, I go and take approval for another 1,000 square feet. So when I'm buying land, I'm buying with the valuation that I can build 2,000 square feet. Let's say when I go and take approval the second time, a policy changed and I can't build another 1,000 square feet, but 500 square feet. Overnight, my pura balance sheet or my projections got screwed. So that is there. So I would say part reason is also because the extreme complex nature of regulation, which also should be significantly eased out. And I think, under the smart city mission, probably these sort of things, the government needs to look at it. And I think these things are being taken into cognizance. Ease of the rules should be easy. It cannot be like rocket science. It cannot be that you go, you will get one square, you will get approval for 2,000 square feet. I get approval for 1,500 square feet. It needs to be, so you make anything too complex, then there is good scope for corruption. If you make things simple, then naturally there'll be less chances for that.
Okay, so the way to spot a shady developer is, one, they need a RERA registered number for that particular property.
Absolutely.
And their own RERA number, is that also?
Yeah, RERA gives a number to every project. Okay. So every project will have a unique ID sort of thing, you can think. RERA ID, they need to have that.
What else? How do you spot a shady
developer? Next thing is track record. So is this the first time he or she is building? If this is the first time he or she is building, because real estate project lifecycle is quite complex, right? It involves various stakeholders, quite a lot of engineering technical challenges. So they might not necessarily understand all of this. See, the another problem with the sector is everybody thinks they know everything in the sector. But in reality, that's not the case. It's a very complex piece of engineering which happens. And at least if people think I don't know it and approach it, you'll have an attitude to learn it. But you're approaching it with I know everything, and it's very complex. So they tend to screw it up. So because they probably might not have the necessary engineering intellect on the product side of things, right? From the aspect of design to the aspect of delivery, matlab building it out. So that also leads to significant construction delays. So try not to take, I would say, a very adventurous risk with somebody who's doing for the first time. Again, this does not mean that he or she or that particular developer is not capable. But I would say wait it out. Let them show, a couple of projects, delivery, and then you can take a bet, right? That's one thing. Next thing could have been that this is very difficult. I don't think people can directly know is that the cash flow management, which again, RERA mandates that any proceeds you take from a customer, 70% of that I need to invest in the project. 30% I can use it because 25 to 30% profits hota hai. So you can use that to pay that. You can use that to buy other land or probably outside company expenditure, or invest in assets or something. But 70% has to be invested in that project. This did bring about a great degree of financial discipline, right? But for an individual, they wouldn't know this because this information is not available. But RERA as a law mandates it. And Maharashtra RERA is quite active, and they're the forefront in terms of this regulation policy implementation in the country. A lot of the states and cities look at the Maharera and build up use cases around that. So it's very good here. So these three things they need to look out for. So try not to, again, I'm not putting a very hard stop that don't invest with a first time developer, because there are again good number of, even I myself was a first time developer like 5 years back, right? And so people did take their risk with me. So look at those aspects and try to get a understanding, maybe meet the particular developer to see their product understanding and stuff like that. That should help. So these three aspects. But don't get it wrong, because if you get it wrong, 10 years of your financial life is gone. And that's little painful. That's very painful, not little painful, very painful. Because you see, you get wrong in equities, it's not that you're going to lose a decade of your financial life, but you get your real estate bet wrong, a decade is gone. So real estate chances of failure should be kept very low.
If you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out these curated playlists that we've made especially for you related to the subject that was spoken about in this clip.